I was one of the largest producers of online pornography in the country. I had 1.3 million registered images, staggering number, and we had thousands and thousands of hours of video.
Jeff Myers never set out to become a pornographer, but by his late 30s, he was king of an online pornography empire.
My soul, it was sterile. It was dead. I really had no conscience whatsoever. It was all about me. It was about making as much money as I could possibly make.
Jeff was driven by deep insecurities that began in his childhood.
I never really measured up, and I was always trying to obtain something that I could never get to. It kind of centered around money. The more money I could get, the more successful I felt, or I could make myself look to others.
He married in his early 30s, but after 5 years they divorced, as he began spending much of his time and money in strip clubs.
It really became my second lifestyle. I was spending thousands of dollars a week in these clubs, vying for this fake attention from these young ladies. Within a short period of time, that lifestyle, little by little, became real to me. I had to have this attention. It made me feel important. For kind of the first time in my life, even though it was fake, it didn't matter. I felt like I was important to somebody.
One night, a dancer told him she wanted help, starting her own pornographic website.
I'm thinking in the back of my head, well, I could do that. And so I did. First week we did $6,000 in sales. Within a year, I had 19 websites. We were doing sales of $30,000 to $40,000 a month. Between the money and the attention of these girls I was getting, I was instantly hooked. In 2 years, I sold my whole program for $2.5 million.
For 3 more years, Jeff produced pornographic material. He began taking the drug ecstasy to get him through the days and nights.
So it's about 150 hours a week of drug-induced fake happiness that is as far from real as you can get. And I knew I was destroying lives at this point. By this time, it kind of caught up to me mentally that what I was doing was just disastrous, not only for the models that worked for me, but for people in general. I knew something was going to have to give, but I stuck to it, and this drug kept me happy. As much as I had people around me, I was so completely alone, and I had many nights just by myself, like just alone.
One of his models asked Jeff to remove her photos from the internet, but he had already sold them. She also asked for ecstasy for some friends and herself. Finally, Jeff said yes.
I grabbed her 3 pills of ecstasy, 1 for each of her friends, not knowing that she had had about a month-long conversation with the local police department about me and about getting her pictures off the internet.
Within a few hours, several drug enforcement officers raided his home and arrested Jeff.
Charged me with manufacturing, distributing methamphetamine, ecstasy, and took everything I owned, cleared me out, and left me kind of sitting in his big house, looking around, wondering what in the world had just happened to me. I was severely depressed. Everyone had abandoned me. I went upstairs, I grabbed a bottle of vodka and 20 750 ES Vicodins. I took all of them, took all 20, and drank the 5th of vodka, and I should have died. For whatever miraculous reason, I woke up the next morning, and I shouldn't have. And I think at that point, I realized that, hey, I need help, and I can't do this on my own. I just so desperately wanted someone to reach out to me, and I was alone, and I needed somebody, something.
He drove to a Christian camp he attended as a young man. That night, they gave an altar call, and Jeff was one of the first to come forward. He prayed and asked God to forgive his sins and give him a new start.
I don't know if this God thing is going to work, that I had done way too much. And in my mind, I'd gone way off the deep end, and there was no redemptive values for me at all. I wasn't worthy. And I certainly didn't feel like I was a Christian, though I knew something had happened that day.
He sought out an old friend from camp who had become a pastor. Within a few days, he had moved in with the pastor and his family.
He was very broken and searching, and didn't really know what to do with his life, and felt like he had at least a chance to come down to strangers and I knew our church would offer grace and love, and he needed that.
What they did is just what Jesus would have done. He didn't look at my past. He didn't look at what I was doing, how I was acting. He just loved me. They wrapped their arms around me and loved on me and took care of me beyond what I could even possibly imagine. That meant everything. That was confirmation that that grace was real.
Jeff spent his days reading the Bible and listening to worship music. Before long, he noticed something different.
Over the next several days, I would wake up every morning with this worship song in my head. It was always a different one, and it was just like I was being washed from the inside out. My mind was being purified, and all those images were going away. I had no recollection of anything that I'd produced or any of those images. It was gone. It was like he used that music and the stuff that I'd read and just to kind of cleanse me and make me new. And that's the point where I said, wow, he can fix me with the mess and the millions of lives that I've touched in a very, very negative way. But he still loves me. Blows my mind.
Jeff was sentenced to a year in prison. He used the time to study the Bible and pray. After his release, he used his internet development skills and started a new website, Godbeat TV.
Instead of sharing filth, he's given me the opportunity to share God's love and put it in as many homes as we can do. It's kind of my personal mission of redemption. It's like, okay, God, you've given me these skills. You know, let's use them for your glory instead of your destruction.
Jeff says he has experienced the love, mercy, and grace of God.
My life was a disaster. I was a drug-addicted, alcoholic, pornographer. But he's taken my life and turned it around and loves me in spite of my mess. Every day is chipping off a little chip of the mess that I had made. He's taken what Satan meant for evil and turned it into something amazing. Just further proof of God's amazing grace, the things he can do and the restoration he can make. Blows my mind still.